fill up one of those tanks in about 9 hours, and then it sits and ferments for an additional 55 hours or so. So for a total of about 65 hours is what the product sits in there before we do it. What's smelling right now is kind of our water treatment facility. It puts off kind of a methane smell. Yeah. It's not a methane gas, but it's the bugs producing the gases, and we get it out there, and a little bit carried back into the process.
Okay.
From that corner to about after the exchangers is what we call the cook process. The cook process is a very high temperature process, and fermentation is opposite of that. It's got to be ideal conditions for the yeast to produce and do their job. If it gets too hot or too cold, you can kill off the yeast and ruin a fermenter. The way we monitor, the way we maintain, adjust that temperature is via heat exchangers. Basically, we're taking cold water from a cooling tower, and it works kind of like a radiator where it passes on one side and the hot product passes on the other side. They never meet, but that energy exchange is taking place. The energy is transferred over to the cool water, which circulates back to the cooling tower. The energy is cooled back down. The energy goes out the top, and it cools the water back down, and it's just a big loop where it continues to come in and cool the fermenter that's needed. The bags that you see around here are nutrients for the yeast. The yeast require nitrogen, the nutrient source for it, and we use urea, the fertilizer, for that source of nitrogen. In its active phase. So we can see what the product looks like when it hits the fermenter. It's a real thin, mass looking product. You can see each fermenter's got its own independent cooler, so we can maintain the temperatures where we want them.
What is making the movement in the fermenter? What is causing the agitation?
Inside of these tanks, we've actually got two big mixers that sit in there, and they're agitators. Basically, their job is to agitate it. And then also we've got the pumps that will circulate the product through the heat exchanger back to the tank. That'll also cause some agitation. And that's real key in keeping that mixed up and that sugar available for the yeast is to keep good circulation, good agitation going. Be real efficient.
Well, how hot does this get?
Basically, we're coming from about 185 degrees in the cook area to about 90 degrees going into the fermenter.
Okay.
So you're dropping about half is the energy exchange ratio that you're going to do the same function. We've got 4 different stations that we utilize. This control room is manned 24/7. Basically, what we're controlling is we're controlling temperature. We're monitoring temperatures, flows, pressures, things along those lines. We've got certain parameters that we maintain, and the guys will make adjustments to keep within those parameters that we've set. We've got guys that are out in the field that are retrieving samples on a 2-hour basis. They'll analyze the samples in the lab every couple of hours to make sure that we're grinding where we need to be, to make sure that our pHs are where we need to be, to produce as much as we can. Facility, basically we test everything from incoming grain to outgoing products, whether it be alcohol or ethanol or feed side of things. We analyze everything from nutritional value. We've actually got the information or the analysis that come off of the instruments. We'll actually download some information to a website where the feedlots can log on to and find out what what the nutritional value for that particular load was. Works real handy. We've got machines that give us a breakdown of what fermentation is doing. We've got it set to where we'll retrieve samples at certain strategic times during fermentation where we can analyze and see how the breakdown's taking place, what kind of conversion rate we get, things along those lines. We also test the amount of moisture that's in our final product. We test the heat. There's a total of three lab techs that run the lab and one lab manager. The operators that are out in the field will analyze their own lab on a 2-hour basis. The operators will run the samples themselves. So they're all familiar with the procedures and the methods that we use to water balance in the plant. Basically, what we do is the water that we use in the fermenter, we'll take the moisture of that and we'll evaporate it down to a certain consistency. The final product that comes off the evaporator, we refer to as syrup. The syrup is also sold as a co-product to the local dairies. They'll use that as a binding agent for their feed when they make their feed rations for their feed or for the dairy. Our distillation and dehydration area. The 3 columns you see here is how we're extracting the alcohol away from the mash and water. This is a syrup tank. Basically, we offload trucks and then we add a portion of it back to the feed. The rest is loaded down. We see about 9 loads a day of syrup. Wet cake,
Wet cake,
which is